Okay, listen, the language in this one it's not rated G. I've never been so angry in my entire life. When I found out about her, I've never been so angry in my entire life. I actually understood how women snap. But we don't go to jail for anybody. But man, I understood how you could. 33 years of lies and betrayal. That's what I've been unraveling. And it makes me really sad. So at some point, I thought to myself, well, I should probably get tested because I bet there was some overlap. There were some things he said when we met in the park that just kind of my brain kind of started piecing it together, going, you should probably get tested because there might have been overlap. And whether there was or whether there wasn't, because of course he said there wasn't, it's not, I don't believe him. They've been lying this whole time. Why would they be telling the truth now? They didn't just all of a sudden become truth tellers. No, they're liars. I decided to send a super vile text that started with this. I'm planning on going to the OBGYN to go get tested. And I'm wondering, do I need to consider your girlfriend's dirty in my sexual history? I told you this one wasn't rated G. He fired back. Wait, first thing is she was in the car with him and they were driving, and I hope that Siri read it over his Bluetooth. That would have been great. So he fired back with, oh my God, what has gotten into you? We had such an amicable divorce and everything was so good. I was not the husband that you are making me out to be. I can't believe the way you're talking. All of it would have sent me spiraling during our marriage. I would have been like, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble and he hates me and I shouldn't have said anything. And what did I do? But instead, I was like, yay, he's mad. He's mad because I'm calling him out on something. And he told me that they hadn't been intimate while we were together. And I said, or he told me they hadn't been intimate until well after our divorce. I'm like, it hasn't even been well after. We haven't even gotten to well after. And you guys are already together. And then I found out other things that they were together. They were together before. So I have every right to go get tested. Listen, if you have any suspicion, just go get tested. Just go do it. And sadly, when I went to the OBGYN, I'm telling them this story and saying, he says there was no overlap. And they just looked at me and went, okay, we're going to test you anyway. And when I talked to the front office, they're like, this is not uncommon. We have women in here every day doing this. And sadly, that's what's going on. They find something out about their partner and they come in. And you just go in for your health. A part of me wanted to have something something easy to take care of. So I could have called him and said, ha ha. But instead, everything was fine. Because you don't just have to think about him, you have to think about her and her sexual health, which I knew about some of her partners because we were friends. So I'm like, not interested in that in my health history. And so, of course, he denied everything. And he said, I just don't think that we should communicate anymore. I'm like, well, I don't know how that's going to happen because we have kids together, but we don't have to talk about this anymore. You're a liar. You've always been a liar. And I don't trust you. I've never trusted you. I should have never given you any of my trust. And of course, he didn't respond because what is he going to remember? They're not going to respond to that. They're not going to go, oh, that hurt my feelings. I hope he went home and thought about that. Or he probably just went home and didn't care. Either way, it doesn't help. Once I found out about her, I actually went back to my divorce mediator and I said I would like to amend our divorce decree and I would like him to sell the house that he's living in, which was our house, and we hadn't sold it. He was just paying me half. And I said, I'd like to sell it, and then I'd like to split the proceeds. And she said, okay. So we amended that. And he said, well, let me figure out if I can sell it or if I can refinance it or what I'm going to do. So I gave him a short period of time, or the mediator did. The mediator did all this and said, you have until whatever day to decide. And then he said, I'm going to go ahead and sell the house and we'll split the proceeds. And the first thought I had was, oh, he's going to move in with his girlfriend. And I told my kids and they said, oh, he's going to move in with his girlfriend. Like you can't get it past the kids either. Like they're smart. They went to therapy, all those things. And so we sold the house. I was grabbed stuff from there, was storing it in my store. I had to buy an entire storage unit to put things in, all this stuff. And when we were splitting everything, he actually took a load to my brother's house where I was living. We didn't know where our son, who was living with my ex, was going to live. And I said, I'm really worried about where our son is going to live. And he's like, yeah, me too. And I said, actually, no, you don't care because you just want to move in with your girlfriend. Aren't you going to do that? Because he hadn't said anything like that. And I said, you're moving in with your girlfriend, aren't you? You have always been a liar. It's amazing how you were just friends, yet 3 months later, you're moving in with her. Wow, you're such a fucking liar, and you've always been a fucking liar. I just walked away and he drove off because, of course, they're not going to respond to you. And that was it. The one thing I did say during the sale of our house was, because his girlfriend, wife now, works in real estate. I said, she is not allowed to touch any papers. I don't care if this is her job. She's not allowed to touch one paper. And he's like, oh, no, God, I would never have her do that. Well, you have to say it. You have to say it out loud. And so I told our realtor, who we chose together, you're allowed to do that. That was in our decree. And I told her, I said, that is not allowed. Like the girlfriend cannot touch one thing, one piece of paperwork. And she's like, oh, no, God, no, that's not anything. And then that was it. And so that's how I found out. From that day on, I really had to do more healing. It's when I started to understand narcissistic abuse. And then, so now for the past 2.5 years, it's been almost 3 since we got divorced, but about 2.5 years, I've been healing from narcissistic abuse. I used to be healing from a divorce of irreconcilable differences. And now it's a whole other world. And that's why I talk about it. And that's why I bring awareness, because it is not the same ball game. It's not the same ball game. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm not going over like how I started my podcast and stuff like that. Unless you guys want to hear that, I can add that on there and what he thinks about that, what his friends did when they saw me on social media, things like that. I kind of talk about that in my first episode of my podcast. But thanks so much for being here, you guys. If this resonates with you, won't you follow along and, of course, like this video so it helps the word get out to other people. I appreciate you.